This question is about ritualistic spiritual practices. Some mornings I wake wishing I could have the faith that if I didn't wish to practice a ritualistic practice of meditating, reading inspirational material, practice yoga, I would feel the same peace, balance as on the days I do practice these rituals. How necessary are spiritual rituals in awakening? How necessary are spiritual rituals, so spiritual practices, in awakening? So first, there's a difference between just doing something because you think you have to do it and should do it because it is like a ritual. And that's what you're saying, it's a ritual. But then there's a ritual that you're actually doing it because you're doing it from here, the heart. And all our spiritual practices or rituals, they need to genuinely come from the heart. Otherwise, you're just doing it as just a ritual. It's almost like being asleep. Well, how often have we driven in our car and we get to a destination and we wonder, how did I even get here? So our practices, we may begin by setting set times in the day, in the morning or noon or afternoon, and we do our spiritual practice. But it comes to a point where we need to bring our spiritual practice into our everyday life. And when you use yoga as a spiritual practice to come into balance and come into harmony, that's wonderful. But you take that internal work, so it's maybe not the physical aspect of the movement of yoga, but the internal aspect of yoga, and that is presence, that is being aware, that is feeling your body, so being embodied, and taking that into your everyday life. So that your spiritual practice or your spiritual rituals are no longer called practices and rituals. They are just a part of your everyday life. And that's the point where our spiritual practice is guiding us. So if your first priority is for inner peace, balance, then we no longer think of it as practices and rituals anymore. When you think of something as practices and rituals, that's a sign that you haven't completely surrendered to becoming present here, now. So you're using your spiritual practice as a means to an end, which is okay, because there are times in our life where we actually need to sit and give ourselves space to come into balance. And we do that by providing that space and that time set aside to restore ourselves. But I invite you now to take your practice into your everyday life with the challenges that we face. And use all the tools that you have, that you've learned so far, and bring it into your life situation, into your work, into your relationships, into your family, into your challenges. And we can do that because meditation is awareness, so we just are aware. And instead of losing ourselves in the situation by giving 100% of our attention in the situation, we feel our body. We feel our breath, so we're aware of the body, aware of the breath. Finding your center. And then move from there. Act from there. Speak from there. It's a shift, and it's a big shift from operating from something that we call the mind, the thinking mind, our conditioned sense of self, into letting go of all those conditions and tapping into your inner self. And it's like a practice to be in our inner self amidst this fast-paced world. But this is what awakening is. To be our true selves, our authentic self, in a world that doesn't seem to be so authentic. But we bring in that authenticity when we live authentically, because we are part of this world, part of the whole. Good luck.